Zoo has put the rest of the Big East on notice that Pitt is a much improved team since last year. Big man Talib Zanna leads the Panthers against Detroit. Next. Welcome to college basketball on ESPN3, presented by Allstate. Tonight from the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's the Pitt Panthers of the Big East welcoming in the Detroit Titans of the Horizon League. This is all part of Jimmy V Week for cancer research. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. And courtside, along with the Oakland Zoo and Mark Adams, I'm Tim Neverett. Welcome to college basketball here on ESPN3. The Pitt Panthers, historically great here at the Pete. However, they're taking on one of the most improved teams in the nation in Detroit.
Only 5 teams in the country have increased both their conference win total for 5 consecutive years and their RPI ranking for 5 years. One of those teams, the Detroit Titans.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's one-on-one. One of the Titans, guard Ray McCallum, son of the head coach. He is a legit NBA prospect, and Trey Woodall, the guy we'll be keeping an eye on for Pitt.
Guard leadership. Ray McCallum does it with vision. He's a guy that sees everybody, makes his teammates better. An NBA-like guard who is ranked the top 100 coming out of high school by ESPN.com. Trey Woodall this season is completely healthy. We all remember last season. The numbers are stark as to with Woodall and without him. Well, the Pittsburgh Panthers have him this year.
Leading the way for the Titans of Detroit on the bench, Ray McCallum, father of the point guard. Talked to him earlier today about how he separates being a coach and dad when his son is the best player on the team, perhaps in the entire Horizon League. Jamie Dixon in his 10th year as head coach, 14th year at Pitt. A win tonight for Pitt would give the school its 1,500th victory. Take a look at the Titans starting 5. McCallum, then Jason Calise, Juwan Howard Jr., a transfer from Western Michigan, Doug Anderson, and Nick Minerath, the senior forward. For Pitt, Woodall, and the freshman James Robinson, he'll have to guard McCallum tonight. Lamar Patterson, Talib Zanna, and Steven Adams on the posts. The officials for tonight's game: James Breeding, Rob Riley, and Alfred Smith. Pitt in white and Detroit in the red, and we're ready to get this one underway. And Pitt controls the opening tip as Adams wins it to Zanna and Robinson out of DeMatha High School, the winningest player ever at DeMatha High School. 120 wins while in high school. Doing a very good job in his first effort as a Division I basketball player this year, especially defensively. Zanna the jumper. Ball is loose, tipped out of bounds by Pitt. Patterson got it. Again, a win tonight would give him win number 15. Jamie Dixon has 244 of those 1,499 Pitt victories.
Tim, James Robinson, number 0 in white, has defended so far this season. Ray McCallum tonight, Trey Burke of Michigan, and C.J. McCollum, the All-American from Lehigh.
Traveling violation against Detroit, a turnover. And Pitt will have possession of the basketball, still scoreless inside of the first minute of play at the Peterson Event Center. Pitt 6-1. Their only loss coming to the University of Michigan. Meantime, Detroit 2-3. Picked second in the preseason Horizon League polls. Patterson for 3, and that one is taken down by Zanna. Zanna trying to get back up in the air. He's fouled. Ball will not drop, but he'll go to the line, and the foul will be on Doug Anderson, his first.
A stat to watch early in this game. Second chance points for Pitt. Of course, that seems like that's been the case under Jamie Dixon now for a long, long time. But with Zanna, Patterson, Adams, all crashing the offensive glass, it's where they can expose Detroit.
Zanna, 70% free throw shooter, 20 out of 28 from the line this year. Gives Pittsburgh the first point and the confetti shower. Adams battling for the loose ball. The trailer. Zana couldn't get it to fall.
Well, the early bad news for Detroit, giving up a lot of second and third offensive looks to the Pitt Panthers.
Anderson whips it up high to Howard. Juwan Howard Jr. had to sit out last year. An offensive foul on Howard. That'll be his first and the second turnover for Detroit.
And who took the charge? Talib Zana. The Nigerian nightmare is making it awfully difficult in the paint here tonight.
Well, Zana, a devout Muslim. He speaks several languages. And in order to increase his strength and speed in the offseason, he had run the mountains in Nigeria, an international flavor. Of course, the Kiwi phenom, Steven Adams, with the bucket there. Pitt up 3. Kalist guarded by Woodall. Kalist finding Nick Minerath. Had to sit out last year with a knee injury, had an ACL problem and missed the entire season. Robinson running the break. Pass inside. Zana for 2.
Unacceptable transition defense. Pitt simply outran Detroit down the court.
Pitt off to a 5-0 run to start the game. And McCallum, who's guarded by the freshman Robinson. And Robinson has had some difficult assignments guarding some of the better guards in the country early on. Here comes Woodall up the court for Pitt. Robinson, pull-up pop. And the rebound again to Zana. He is fouled from behind. And the foul is on Detroit's
the big men,
Minerath.
The big men for Pitt are simply outrunning all the red jerseys. Talib Zana, he wants it more in the 94-foot situation. The next possession, shot goes up, he gets the offensive rebound. Big guys in red jerseys are not putting bodies on the white big guys coming down the floor.
Robinson has to lob it into the backcourt. And Lamar Patterson hands back to Robinson. Guarded by McCallum.
Let's see if Pitt tries to get another quality touch in the paint. There it is.
Lob inside. Good move by Zana, but he overshot it. Here comes Jason Kalist, junior out of Scarborough, Canada.
Here's where Ray McCallum really needs to take over. Number 3 in red. He wants an on-ball screen. There it is.
McCallum is a scorer, been asked to score more this year. Howard missed wide right on the 3 ball.
Nothing inside early for Detroit. No threes falling for Detroit. Bad news for the Titans early.
Patterson, dish inside to Zana. He missed the dunk. You won't see that often. That's a high percentage shot. And now Anderson missed on a long 2. So Detroit having problems connecting in the early going. Patterson guarded by Howard. Patterson to the rack, and he is going to be fouled as Minerath made contact with him. And that'll be the second foul on Nick Minerath.
Shot selection early is a stark reminder of Pitt's ability to attack in the paint. Minerath, a guy with size, but likes to face up a little bit more. Detroit, right now, devoid of interior defense.
Patterson missed. Patterson averaging 15 points a game over his last 3 games. Remember in the opener against Mount St. Mary's, Patterson did not get a point. So Minerath with 2 quick fouls comes out. Jermaine Lippert and Evan Bruinsma have come in for Detroit. And some substitutions for Jamie Dixon's team. J.J. Moore has come in off the bench, as well as Dante Taylor, both post players.
Well, Detroit simply has to get back better defensively. That's the reason for the personnel rotation. Get guys that are going to get back.
Kalist is doubled. Cutting is McCallum. And McCallum scores the first Titan basket.
Ray McCallum has to take over this game, starting now. He's the best player on the court in a red jersey. He's the guy this team needs to step up at this level of competition.
McCallum leads the Horizon League, averaging nearly 21 points a game. He is among the nation's leading scorers at this point in the season. Robinson takes the pick from Dante Taylor and scores with a finger roll.
No help side on the backside for Detroit. Pitt is slicing and dicing this defense.
And McCallum, an effortless three. 5 points for Detroit, all 5 for McCallum.
Boy, is he good.
Smooth. Watching him shoot earlier today and shoot around it. Didn't miss much, but everything was just so smooth. Woodall trying a three. Dante Taylor tipped it. Goes out of bounds. And one of the Detroit Titans got a hand in there as well. But it will be out of bounds off of Pitt, and the Titans will have the ball in a week.
Offensively, James Robinson takes the ball to the basket. Look at the right-hand side of the screen. No red jerseys step in. Concentrate on the left-hand side of the screen, right there. Only one red jersey comes to defend, and he's very, very late, which just parts the waters for James Robinson to finish.
Robinson, the freshman, starting for Jamie Dixon since game 1. Outstanding look by our camera crew. There's our man Danny right under the basket picking that up over there. You can wave to us. So 8-5 is where we are in the first half. First 5 minutes gone by. Police for the basketball gives it to Bruinsma.
Interesting to watch Ray McCallum defended by James Robinson, number 0 in white versus number 3 in red. That's the matchup to watch.
Police will launch a three, and he'll hit a three. That ties the game at 8.
Kalist made it. McCallum never got a touch after he gave it up. That's exactly what Jamie Dixon wants to have happen.
Detroit last year, an NCAA tourney team. They were a 15 seed after winning the Horizon League. Played Kansas in the first round, a number 2 seed. Hung with them for a half and then faded in the second half.
Detroit goes 2-3 zone and successful. We're going to see a lot of 2-3 zone from Detroit tonight. Why? Because of the Michigan game.
And Howard threw some zone at Pitt the other night too on Tuesday. Gave him a little bit of trouble. There's McCallum. And a whistle underneath. And a foul is going to be called on J.J. Moore.
Watch McCallum leave his feet right here. Moore slides underneath. That's typically a play a freshman makes, not a junior like McCallum. 2-foot jump stop, then make the play.
McCallum will take a break. Coming in will be P.J. Boutte.
Look for pace to change now with P.J. Boutte, number 11. He likes to push the ball hard in 94-foot situations.
Cameron Wright in for Pitt now. Right with the basketball. Now, Coach, when you have a zone as compared to playing man-to-man, what do you do offensively to try to get around the zone?
Well, we're seeing Pitt right now move the ball around the perimeter and stand a lot. Tim, I think you run your man-to-man offense against zone. And we'll talk about that as we go through the game and why.
Well, Wright commits the personal foul. his first and the second on the team for Pittsburgh. The McCallum's having a conference.
My father and son trying to figure it out. The little flow here. 8-8, but Pitt has had so many great looks at the basket early. You've got to be concerned.
Boutte picked up by Robinson. Right out to get Kalist. Kalist for three. And Bruinsma saves it into the backcourt. Stolen by Wright. Taken back by Detroit only momentarily before Robinson finally gains possession.
You never grab a loose ball on a dribble. You grab the ball with two hands and secure the ball first.
That's a good example as to why. Duran Johnson with the basketball out of Wright. Moore trying to set the pick, but Philly steps around it.
Detroit doing a nice job in this zone, and Pitt standing around against the zone.
And Robinson turns it over with a travel. Substitution for Detroit after the first Pitt turnover of the game. McCallum comes back in after a brief break. 6'3" junior. Considered perhaps a second-round NBA prospect. A number of NBA scouts on hand here to watch him tonight. And a whistle off the ball. And it is on Duran Johnson, a freshman out of Baltimore, Maryland. Redshirted last year. Deadlocked at 8, 12:23 to go in the first half. A block and a foul as Dante Taylor made some contact. But Duran Johnson also into the contact. He'll pick up his second quick foul.
Anton Wilson goes hard to the glass. See the defender slide underneath. Wilson, one of those athletic guys that Ray McCallum needs to develop better depth with this Detroit basketball team. They've really only played 7 guys on most nights.
Patterson will take out Duran Johnson. Detroit now with their first lead of the game at 9-8. Patterson back in. Starting his 41st consecutive game at small forward tonight for Pittsburgh.
Well, James Robinson now leaving the game. We're probably going to have Trey Woodall matching up with Ray McCallum on that offense-defensive sets. Detroit's on some 2-2-1 zone.
Pitt got out to a 5-0 lead, but now Detroit on an 8-0 run over the last 3 minutes or so. And trying to extend that right now is McCallum. Oh, it's the dribble. Leaves it high for Anderson for the jam. What a play. Doug Anderson, a highlight waiting to happen according to his head coach, Ray McCallum. Took the feed right over the rim from the coach's son, and Detroit out to their biggest lead at 12-8.
Watch Ray McCallum with the crossover as he jukes the defender and puts it right above the rim for the flush. McCallum with the long step. Look at that shoulder slant with the left shoulder. He gets down low, number 3, Ray McCallum. There it is, right there. And he just explodes to the basket. Backside's got to come. McCallum feeds it right to the rim. Doug Anderson, who last season had 119 field goals made, Tim, 58 of them were dunks. Wow.
Again, a high percentage shot. So Doug Anderson from McCallum. An exciting play for the Detroit Titans. That's one of the things about Anderson that the head coach Ray McCallum was talking to us about this morning, saying he's got the best motor on the team, perhaps one of the best motors in the country, the way that he can get up and down the floor and make things happen.
Now against the 2-3 zone, the key for Pitt is to get inside touches, get it in the paint.
Cameron right to Woodall, swings it left, Patterson. Skip pass, Woodall drops it for Moore, and that's tipped by Anderson and knocked out of bounds off of the leg of Moore. And Detroit will have possession again. 11:32 to go in the first half. Timeout on the floor. Detroit 12, Pitt 8.
I think Jim's legacy will not be just basketball. He faced death, looked it straight in the eye and said, I'm going to live beyond, and I'm going to do something beyond my death that will impact on mankind. I think that's what his legacy will be, is what he did in those last 4 or 5 months of his life.
Jimmy V Week here on ESPN3, and the Detroit Titans with a 12-8 lead over Pitt. 11:32 to go in the first half of play. And again, the zone defense of Detroit giving Pitt's offense some trouble.
You know, Tim, we talked about it earlier. When you design an offense, it's ball movement, player movement, and attack off the dribble. I think too many times when you attack a zone, you tend to get some ball movement, very little player movement, and sometimes very little attack off the dribble as well. I'd rather run my man stuff against the zone to get my players moving.
McCallum with the basketball for Detroit. He'll launch one, and he'll hit one. That's his second three ball. And Ray McCallum now with 8 points, and Detroit extends their largest lead to 15-8.
There's a reason why Detroit, over the last 5 seasons, has improved their conference victory total and their RPI ranking for 5 consecutive years. One of only 5 programs in the country that have done that.
Woodall looking for some help. Bounce pass to Wright. Under 10 on the timer. Wright has the open look. Moore gets the rebound and a stick back. Ends a bit of a drought for Pittsburgh, and it's now a 5-point Detroit lead.
Now, the good news for Pitt, second chance point. The bad news, really did not take a very good shot and stood around a lot offensively.
Pitt did not have a field goal for 5 minutes. A miss by Anton Wilson. And Pitt trying to shrink the Detroit lead.
Now just watch the white jerseys versus the zone. See how much they move.
Underneath, Patterson has it blocked. Wright trying to keep it alive, but here comes McCallum. A 2-on-1 and a foul. McCallum will go to the line to shoot 2. Trey Woodall didn't have much of a choice but to foul Ray McCallum. That's the first foul on Woodall. Jimmy Dixon probably not pleased with the start here tonight.
Well, when your defense is designed to take this guy out of the game, Ray McCallum, and the way that he has played early on in this game, Ray McCallum has done a tremendous job of picking his teammates up and creating offense for Detroit.
Well, talking to Ray, his dad, about coaching his son, he said, how do you separate being the coach and the dad when you see your son do something very well? How do you not get overly excited? He said, well, he's expected to do those things. He's been around it his whole life. He knows what he's supposed to do, so he said, I expect him to do all those things that he does so well.
Had a very similar conversation with Greg McDermott, of course, the father of the first-team All-American, Doug McDermott. These kids are expected to perform. Their fathers have seen them play for a long, long time. They know their strengths and weaknesses. Both those kids can really play.
Trey Woodall with the basketball for Pitt. Patterson to Robinson. Adams back in the game. The 7-footer out of New Zealand had it stripped away.
Nobody cut when the ball was in the paint.
Anderson trying to get to the hoop, fouled by Robinson. Anderson, a very athletic player. Seven-point Detroit lead. The last 5 fouls in the game have been on Pittsburgh. And each team now with 5 team fouls. So Anderson to the line, and Jamie Dixon trying to plead his case with one of the officials, but to no avail. And Jamie was telling, we were talking about his playing days. As a high school player, he said he was a skinny 17-year-old with braces, didn't amount to much, and he said he was the last guy recruited at TCU. And by the time he made it to play professional basketball, he had put on 40 pounds, and he didn't start to dunk the ball as a player until he was a pro. There's Woodall the other way for a basket.
Another way to beat the zone, beat it before it gets set. Well executed by Trey Woodall.
Bruinsma getting around Adams. And a whistle and a foul on Adams. Bruinsma drawing the foul. Actually, that'll be on Talib Zana, not on Adams. They called it on 42 Zana.
Tim, the difference in this game right now is Pitt's inability to penetrate the zone in the paint and Detroit's ability to beat Pitt off the dribble.
Again, Detroit picked second in the Horizon League in the preseason poll, the champions of the Horizon League last year. A team that has improved every single season under Ray McCallum, as you pointed out early in the telecast, Coach. And they seem to be getting better and better. A 7-point Titan lead. Pitt doesn't lose much here at the Pete. They have been excellent here.
Well, that's an effective press. It just took 10 seconds off the shot clock. Now Pitt has to reset and try to attack the zone.
Patterson looking for a man open. It's Robinson for three. Patterson the rebound. Trying to find somebody else. This time it's Zana. All swatted away. Police running it the other way for Detroit. Detroit's playing some defense.
They really are. They're just collapsing anything in the paint. There's 3, 4, and 5 red jerseys surrounding the basketball. If you can't penetrate this zone, what are you going to do against Syracuse?
Police for three. Another three ball for Detroit. That is their fourth three-pointer made. And a 10-point lead for the Titans. Their largest of the game with 8:07 to go in the first half.
Detroit moving the basketball to and fro from right to left. Police knocks it down. But the real key to this basketball game has been the defense interior of Detroit. As the ball goes inside, watch the red jerseys. White jerseys tend to stand, the ball goes low. Watch the red jerseys, all focused, all with hands and feet active, all ball hawking the basketball, and Detroit comes up with it. This has been a very stingy interior defense by Detroit so far tonight.
Well, to give you an idea of how that zone has worked, Pitt had 8 points in the first 4.5 minutes of the game. Over the last 7 minutes plus, they've only had 4 points since they've gone to the zone.
That's exactly right. They opened in man-to-man. And play-by-play partner, you have it absolutely right. They went zone and it shut them down.
Well, Robinson up top to Patterson. Woodall left wing. McCallum goes to grab him. Pittsburgh is 96-3 against non-conference opponents in this building. They've won 117 of the last 121 home games against regular season non-conference opponents, but are down by double digits. Howard commits the foul. Timeout. Detroit in front. Jimmy V Week for cancer research this week. V Foundation, founded in 1993 by Jim Valvano and ESPN. It's awarded more than $100 million in cancer research grants. 100% of donations to all types of cancer research is awarded. Operating expenses paid by an endowment fund. You can log on to www.jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to donate. Well, Ray McCallum has led Detroit to a 22-12 lead so far, and McCallum, their leading scorer, doing what is expected of him.
He's one of the Wooden preseason top 50 candidates. Why? Because he can stretch a defense from three-point land. Why? Because he's explosive. He plays at a steady pace, Tim, but when he explodes, he blows by defenders.
Oh, Pitt trying to carve into this double-digit lead. 7:40 to go, first half. Over the last 11 possessions for Pittsburgh, just 2 field goals, and they've turned it over 4 times. Make it 5. Off of Adams. And the ball back to the Titans.
Well, that zone defense really has Pitt frustrated right now. There's a quiet crowd.
Kalist gets the screen from Anderson. Now popping out is McCallum, and he's got another 3.
Perfectly executed play. McCallum comes off a double screen on the left-hand side and just buries it.
McCallum into double figures with 13 points. He's 3 for 3 from behind the arc. Detroit as a team is 5 for 9 from 3.
Watch the red jerseys. They only play to the three-point line. They've always got a foot inside the three-point line because they want to force that shot. Well done by Joe Woodall.
And Woodall drains the 3. Back to 10 points at 25-12. We look at the 5 for 9 three-point shooting for Detroit in a recent game against Bowling Green. They were just 3 for 17.
Yeah, when they make threes, that's why they went to the NCAA tournament last year. They won 3 straight road games to get there.
McCallum dribbling out of the corner and resetting the offense. Shot clock is a factor right now. It's down to 5. Long 3. Adams couldn't get the rebound, but a foul over the back. And that'll be whistled on Detroit's Doug Anderson. That's his second.
The shot clock running down. Surprised to see Ray McCallum with 7 seconds on the shot clock settle for that contested 28-foot jump shot.
7th team foul on Detroit, so Pittsburgh in the bonus, and Talib Zanna will go to the line. Zanna with 3 points, 1 for 2 from the stripe tonight. And he earns the bonus. Makes it a 9-point Detroit lead. Checking in for Detroit will be the guard out of Indianapolis, P.J. Boutte, a sophomore.
The other thing, Pitt has done an excellent job this year. They have forced 42 more turnovers than they have committed themselves. This has been more of a higher risk, high reward defense that gets them some easy baskets. So far, Detroit doing a good job taking care of the basketball.
Under 6 minutes remaining. There's a steal and a get back by Kalist. And the steal back now. This time Adams has it off to Robinson. The freshman tandem for Pitt. Robinson to the basket. He's thrown to the ground. And Detroit gets a hold of the basketball and finally a whistle.
Watch as Robinson goes to the basket. There's contact there. That's a foul, plain and simple. Listen, it's easy for us as I sit here and watch a replay. I got blocked off with the live action as the crowd was going absolutely bananas. There's Robinson, and you can't see it as well from that angle, but he definitely got bumped in the air.
Pitt gets the basketball, and Zanna missed the lay-in. The foul is called underneath, and it's going to be called on Steven Adams. It's his first personal, and that's the 7th team foul against Pitt. So now Detroit in the bonus for the rest of the half.
Well, the frustration is in this building is palpable right now.
And heading to the line will be Bruinsma. Evan Bruinsma out of New Era, Michigan. A junior, 6'8". Very good student for Detroit. He's on the athletic director's honor roll.
Very
productive. The bonus.
Very productive role player. He's a glue guy for this Detroit basketball team.
J.J. Moore checks back in, giving Adams a break.
Pretty consistent, over 50% from the floor. Obviously makes his free throws.
Bruinsma missed that one, and Moore right off the bench with the rebound. Now Pittsburgh playing without one of their key bench figures here tonight. Trey Ziegler has been suspended by head coach Jamie Dixon for an undetermined amount of time, a violation of team rules. And Ziegler got into some legal trouble recently that was publicized in Pittsburgh, and so he is suspended and not able to go.
Well, it was a DUI, and I got a chance to talk to Trey after practice today. He's a young man that I have a personal relationship with, and our discussion basically rounded around, it's what you do next. It's how you respond. He made a bad mistake, but he's a good kid, and he's going to bounce back better for it.
Butte with a basketball. He is a big-time assist guy. Again, out of Indianapolis, he's the all-time Indiana high school assist leader. And considering the number of players that played in the state of Indiana and played well, that's saying something for Butte. It's saying something for Bruinsma, who knocks down a three.
Bruinsma was 0 for 7 from three-point line coming into this basketball game. I'd say things are going pretty well for Detroit right now.
6 of 11 from behind the arc as a team. Pitt trying to match him, and Trey Woodall's got his second three-pointer.
Man, is he tough.
Pitt trying to play some defense and get the ball back from Detroit. To Least, cut off by Robinson. Robinson gaining a reputation as a very good defender here in his freshman season. There's the steal by Woodall. Pass ahead. Lamar Patterson puts it down. And Pitt now trailing by 6. And Ray McCallum wants a timeout. 4:14 to go in the first half. And Pitt has cut into the Detroit lead.
Trey Woodall has led the way for the Pitt Panthers. Lamar Patterson with the dunk because of Trey Woodall's active hands and feet defensively. How important is Trey Woodall to this basketball program? A year ago, the injury came. This is a basketball team that's gone 23-11 with Trey Woodall in the lineup over the last 2 seasons, 5-6 without Trey Woodall. And the numbers of field goal percentage, productivity for Pitt with him versus without him, unbelievable, Tim.
We'll get a deeper look at that coming up at the half. Coach, you did a lot of work on that, and we'll again get a look at that at the half. Just what does Trey Woodall mean to this team when he is healthy? Last year he tried to get in a defensive position. Jamie Dixon told him, get in a defensive position. He said, Coach, I can't. My legs won't let me.
Aston Gibbs was the same way with his bad ankles. He couldn't get in a defensive stance either. How do you guard somebody then?
McCallum with Kalist up top. Whips it to Bruinsma. John Wilson. Bruinsma driving. Lays it up, no good. Inside position by Zana. Held ball situation, and the arrow will favor Detroit. So the Titans will keep possession with 3:52 remaining in the half. A timeout on the floor. 29-26. Detroit leading Pittsburgh here at the Peterson Event Center. As Pitt trying to defend their way back into this ball game. Ray McCallum of the Detroit Titans with a 29-23 lead over Pitt here late in the first. Let's take a look inside the play, Coach.
Watch Ray McCallum, number 3 in red, come off the double screen right below. There it is, right there. He's coming off hard, number 3. Look at his defender. 2 full paces off. McCallum comes up, rubs his man in the screen, shapes up with good footwork, good extension, and knocks down the 3 ball. That's how you come off a screen. Full sprint, ready to shoot.
Right off the inbound, Kalise with the miss. Bruins man, right place, right time for the rebound. McCallum in the land of the Giants ends up taking an extra step and turning it over.
Well, that looked like a pretty good 2-foot jump stop unless he shuffled his feet. You could hear him come to the 2-foot jump stop.
Turnovers are now even at 6 for Pitt, 6 for Detroit. Ron Johnson with Trey Woodall. Now Robinson with it. Three ball on the way. That's good, and Woodall has 3 of them.
And James Robinson made it happen by dribbling into the gap and drawing 2 defenders. Well done.
Woodall 3 for 4 from three-point range. He's the first Panther in double figures with 11 points. And Pittsburgh on an 8-0 run right now. Foul is called. That'll be on Woodall, his second. Team's 8th. Still 2 away from the double bonus. Nelson Kalise to the line. Kalise last year scored in double figures in 15 of the last 20 games he played. So he became more of a scorer down the stretch in helping Detroit to their Horizon League championship and their NCAA tournament appearance.
Kalise and McCallum have played 3 seasons together now. And for Detroit to win, Jason Kalise has to be the long-range option. He's got to make 3-point shots, 2 for 5 from behind the arc tonight.
7 points for Kalise. And that one's good. So 8 for him, and it's a 31-26 Detroit lead. Just over 3 minutes to go, first half. Along with former Central Connecticut State coach Mark Adams, I'm Tim Neverett. College basketball on ESPN3 tonight. Glad you're watching along with us from the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh.
When Pitt catches the basketball, high post or anywhere in the paint, it is just swarm ball. Detroit just flocks to the basketball.
Johnson, the entry
there it is again.
Robinson trying to hold on to it in a battle for the loose ball. And that ball is going to go back to Detroit.
It's great hustle.
Well, it's not easy diving into a row of guys holding on to cameras.
That's why Greensman's in the lineup. He's that kind of a guy.
He's a scrapper. And a timeout is called. As Jamie Dixon wants to talk things over quickly with his team. Robinson. Actually, he's going to get a look. This is an official's timeout, not a Pittsburgh timeout. So he may have a cut on his hand, and if that's the case, they're going to have to get that squared away. If there's blood on the uniform, they've got to change the uniform top. Looks like he's got a cut underneath his right forearm near the elbow. He is out being attended to. Trey Woodall is back in. Woodall has scored 11 of the last 15 points for Pittsburgh.
And now it's Woodall versus McCallum.
Anton Wilson for Detroit with the basketball over to McCallum. McCallum gets a screen, wide open look, and a long jumper. That's good for 2. And McCallum with 15 points. He is the game's leading scorer.
And no help on that on-ball screen. No white jersey even close to McCallum. Very unusual for a Pitt defense.
McCallum's last game against Bowling Green, he scored 25. His career high is 31. rebound by Judson. That's a 3-ball. And Pitt's going to have to shoot their way back in, and they've done so, cutting the lead to 4. 1:45 to go until halftime.
Look at the
pass to the corner, wide open look. However, a whistle and a foul off the ball, and that foul is called on Ugochukwu Njoku, the junior from Lagos, Nigeria. That's his first.
Detroit has set some very aggressive screens on the perimeter, on ball, and they got away with them till now.
And a turnover on the offensive foul, so now Detroit has 6 turnovers over their last 9 possessions. Jamie Dixon can feel perhaps a little momentum heading Pittsburgh's way, trailing by 4 and a minute 41 to go. Njoku is out, and Jermaine Lippert back in for the Titans. Zana pass out to Patterson. There's a 3 on the way. Rebound McCallum. McCallum on the run. And McCallum will pick up the blocking foul. And again, you've got to look and see where that occurred with the feet. You've got to look and see how close that was to the restricted area arc.
That's close. Let's see if Trey Woodall establishes defensive position. You might say, well, coach, he was moving. Doesn't matter if he was moving. If he establishes defensive position, which it appeared that he did, that appears to be an offensive foul on the replay to me.
And the arc had no bearing. It was well outside the arc.
But here's the thing, Tim. Such a difficult call to make because the official making that call is on the baseline. He's literally 6 feet away from the call. It's hard to get a good angle and a good look at that particular play.
It's like multiple cuts were treated from Robinson. He's got his left hand taped up and his right forearm taped up. Robinson back in. Woodall charged with the foul, by the way. That's his 3rd. But last offseason, one of the points of emphasis among the officials that was looked at all offseason last year was the block charge. And they went back and looked at several different block charges. Again, it's a point of emphasis and one that is perhaps the toughest one to call.
It really is difficult, and you can emphasize it all you want. There's still the human factor in how quickly the play takes place. And it is a bang bang, and it's literally right in front of you on the baseline. Very difficult to call.
That restricted area arc is a foot smaller than the NBA's, by the way. If you've seen that arc underneath the basket, it's a little wider on an NBA court. 4 feet as opposed to 3 feet in college. McCallum again knocks down a free throw. 35-29, 6-point lead, just under a minute and a half to go. First half of play.
When Pitt has been successful against the zone, it's driving off the dribble into gaps, drawing defenders.
That ball is off of Zana. And back to Detroit. Zana was running up the floor the other way, and the ball thrown off his back. Does Detroit run some clock here if they can?
You know, I would look for something for McCallum, especially off the screen here. They're just giving him multiple screens.
Talise with it. Under a minute to go. Bruinsma short on the 3. Lippert the rebound. Out to Kalist. Challenges Zana. And he gets the roll. A friendly roll on the road for Jason Kalist. Kalist in double figures now with 10 points.
55 times so far this season, non-Power 6 programs have defeated Power 6 programs. 55 times. Detroit right in the middle of this one, in one of the toughest places in the country to grab a road victory.
Johnson long on the 3, and McCallum's got it with 20 seconds to go and the shot clock dead. And now Detroit will try to play for the final shot of the half.
There's only one person you have to watch on offense. That's Ray McCallum, number 3 in red. And Pitt goes zone for the first time tonight.
5 seconds to go. Kalist launches a long one. Robinson will not get the shot off, and an 8-point lead at the half in favor of Detroit. Playing on the road in a tough environment, the Detroit Titans leading their foes from the Big East, the Pittsburgh Panthers, 37-29. A look at Trey Woodall when we come back to Pittsburgh right after this. We're at the half. Welcome back to the Peterson Event Center. We are at the half in Pittsburgh, Pitt, and Detroit. Pitt Panthers 6-1 this year, and they look like they are on track to have a much improved season in the Big East Conference. A big reason for that is the return of guard Trayvon Woodall.
How much does the leadership of one player mean to a team? Trey Woodall means an awful lot to the Pitt Panthers. Consider a team that is a combined 23-12 with a healthy Woodall on the lineup over the last 2 seasons. Without their leader, the Panthers were only 5-6 last season. How do you quantify leadership? For the Pitt Panthers, it is easy to quantify the worth of one Trey Woodall. The numbers don't lie. The offensive production with Trey is exceptional. Without Trey Woodall, pedestrian. Many considered Ashton Gibbs to be Pitt's best player last season, but without Woodall, Gibbs shot 8 percentage points less from three-point range. Ashton Gibbs with Woodall shot 38%, without him 29%. So what does one player mean to a team? When it comes to Trey Woodall, an awful lot. When you play for Bob Hurley in high school and for Jamie Dixon in college, maybe you learn a thing or two about toughness and leadership. This is a new year, and with Trey Woodall healthy once again and in the Panther lineup every night, there is no leadership void anymore in Oakland. Woodall is back, and so are his Pitt Panthers.
Trey Woodall and the Pitt Panthers continue with the Titans of Detroit. Second half action around the corner, but when we return, we'll take a look at scores from around the top 25 and the Big East. We're at the half in Pittsburgh. Well, the members of the Oakland Zoo, the student cheering section here at the University of Pittsburgh, a little quiet, a little subdued after the first half as the visiting Titans of Detroit lead Pitt 37-29 after the first 20 minutes of play. The AP Top 25 Saturday's games finals. Baylor knocks off number 8 Kentucky 64-55. Creighton a winner over St. Joseph's 80-51. Bradley, Michigan went at it. The Wolverines 74-66 the final, and Ohio State beats Northern Kentucky 70-43. Still to come, number 9 Arizona will play tonight. Other games from the top 25, number 24 UNLV late in the first half, leading the Warriors of Hawaii 49-27. New Mexico, an overtime winner over the Sycamores of Indiana State. Checking scores from the Big East. Illinois State took Louisville right down to the wire, but the 5th-ranked Cardinals winning it 69-66. Cincinnati and Alabama, what a game there. Bearcats winning it by a bucket. St. John's over NJIT. Providence by 10 over Mississippi State. Also a 10-point win for Villanova over Vanderbilt as the Big East taking care of the SEC. Second half action around the corner. First, stats and highlights. 37-29 Detroit at the break. An 8-point lead for the Detroit Titans out of the Horizon League, leading the Pittsburgh Panthers from the Big East as we continue our halftime activities with Mark Adams. I'm Tim Neverett. We expected Ray McCallum to put on a little bit of a show. He is the leading scorer in the game after the first 20 minutes with 17.
Well, we also expected Trey Woodall to show some leadership as well, and both of those things have happened here in the first half.
Now let's take a look at our first half highlights. And Ray McCallum providing a lot of them for Detroit.
Ray McCallum plays in different gears. He can explode to the basket. Ray McCallum can also measure a defender and knocks it down right in front of the Pitt bench. I love the way he comes off the double screen. Feet set, hands ready, lock, cock, let it fly. Trey Woodall, leadership. Pitt needed a boost as they simply could not score against the zone. Trey Woodall beat the zone down the floor. When Trey Woodall knocked down the 3 ball, that gave Pitt a zone buster, which they lacked in the first half. Trey Woodall has shown the type of leadership necessary for this team to make a second half run against a very stingy Detroit defense. We picked the one-on-one, McCallum versus Woodall. Both these guys have shown up with huge numbers in the first half.
Woodall is Pitt's leading scorer with 11 points. He has 3 from behind the arc. That's the zone buster you talked about. And they need more of that in the second half if they're going to overtake this much improved Detroit squad. A club you talked about improving, being one of the most improved teams in the nation. Each year, incrementally, they're getting better under Ray McCallum.
Only 5 teams have improved their conference win totals and their RPI for 5 consecutive seasons. Detroit, one of those 5. The reason, Tim, why they're successful tonight, number 1, Detroit's knocking down the 3 ball. And number 2, the 2-3 zone, as you pointed out in the first half, very, very stingy. They can't guard Pitt in the man. They went 2-3 zone and shut down the Pitt Panthers.
Our first half statistics look like this. What stands out to you?
Well, certainly field goal percentage, shooting 48% at Pitt is just a phenomenal field goal percentage. Likewise, Pitt shooting a very pedestrian 36%. And right now it's because they're standing around against that zone defense.
37-29, that's the score at the end of the first half. We'll have the second half from the Pitt in Pittsburgh next. It is Jimmy V week for cancer research on ESPN this week. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Detroit comes into the second half with a lead on the road in a very difficult place to win, the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh. Ray McCallum's team has their sights set on a return trip to the NCAA tournament. And Trey Woodall getting the job done so far with 11 points to lead the Panthers, but they need some more help from their men on the inside, perhaps. In the Oakland Zoo, well, one of the animals is into the act. There in the middle.
Well, Jamie Dixon would like to see his big guys go into aggressive mode on the offensive glass, and likewise, going to be interesting to see the adjustments. I think more ball movement, and then from the ball movement, more dribble penetration into gaps drawing defenders. Challenge your big guys to crash the O glass.
Pitt's had good success in the second half, but turns the ball over right away, and a reach-in foul by James Robinson. That's his second personal. 96-3 against non-conference opponents here in this building. 43-1 during the month of December. Today is the 1st of December. Minorat lobs inside, undercut McCallum, no whistle. And Robinson running the other way. Here's Wright to the basket, score.
Well, Cameron Wright, one of those energizer guys. He could get this team rolling. The best way to beat the zone, beat it down the court. Well done by Pitt.
Wright's first points of the game. Minerath back in. Pass up top to Anderson. He'll launch for three. Rebound Patterson. And it's the freshman Robinson for a screen from Adams as he brought the ball down the floor. Wright with Patterson. Normally Wright comes in for Patterson, but they're playing together on the floor with Woodall on the bench to start the second half. Patterson regains the basketball. His short jumper falls. And it is now a 4-point game again. Detroit in front with the basketball.
2 straight possessions on offense, and Pitt put the ball on the floor and attacked the basket in mid-range. Very well executed.
Juwan Howard Jr. Dad was a star at Michigan and in the NBA. Transfer from Western Michigan, a Detroit native. Now Patterson, no look pass to Wright for 2 more. And Pittsburgh has cut the lead to 2 points.
3 adjustments by Jamie Dixon. Number 1, attack. Number 2, attack. Number 3, attack.
All right, getting the job done. He's got 4 quick points to start the second half. Pittsburgh getting back in it. Just 2 points behind Detroit. Part of the reason Cameron Wright defending Ray McCallum to start the second half.
And Pitt very much in attack mode. Cameron Wright in the full court situation. Patterson in the paint. Knocks down the mid-range. Patterson again. Full court to Cameron Wright. Cameron Wright was inserted in this lineup to jumpstart the Pitt Panthers, and he has done that very, very well.
A halftime adjustment by Jamie Dixon just paid dividends down the stretch for the home team. We'll see.
Cameron Wright now matched up with Ray McCallum. More size on McCallum. 3 versus 3.
Anderson back to Khalees. 3 ball. That's no good. Talib Zana gave it a look, but Robinson chased it down.
Advantage Wright. McCallum didn't touch it once he gave it up.
Wide open look for Wright. Pass inside, and Adams can't connect, but he's fouled. And Steven Adams, fouled in the act of shooting, will go to the line.
Pitt so much more effective attacking in the 94-foot situation. A little secondary break action right there, attacking the block. I love that.
Adams a little long on the first one. Ray McCallum. We've known Ray a long time.
Yeah, he's really a great, great coach. I met Ray when he was an assistant to Steve Yoder at Wisconsin. He was a great player at Ball State. Did a tremendous job as the head coach at Ball State and at Houston as well. And now, one of those coaches you don't hear a lot about, but one of the 5 programs in the country most improved during that time. Very, very consistent. Doesn't hurt when your son's really, really good, too.
And his son's got the basketball. Police had it knocked away, but he got it back. Pass to McCallum. McCallum projected to be the player of the year in the Horizon League, preseason player of the year. MVP of the Horizon League tournament a year ago. There's a crowd underneath. And the loose ball knocked out of bounds by Anderson of Detroit. And Pitt will have the ball back.
This is a much more aggressive Pitt basketball team defensively and offensively. Look how Patterson just made himself big. He didn't lean in, didn't make a foul. He just stood tall. Well done.
Well, so far in the second half, Detroit is 0 for 4 from the field. Pitt 3 for 3 from the field. Adams finds a helper in right. Now Robinson facing Caliste. Patterson off the dribble. Fadeaway jumper, no good. And the ball eludes the grasp of Steven Adams. And a whistle as the shot clock was reset. However, the ball didn't hit the rim. So it should not have reset. But it was reset anyway. So they're going to have to take a look and figure out where that shot clock should be.
And good job of officiating, recognizing it right away and checking it out.
Well, did it hit the rim or didn't it? If it did hit the rim, then the shot clock should reset. Looks like it hit all glass, Coach.
That's the way it looks from here. That ball didn't change any route, spin or otherwise. It just hit the backboard and came right back down.
So an official review underway as the officials will take a look at these angles here.
See if you see any change of direction. Be a good angle right here. Doesn't hit the rim.
So we'll see what they do with the shot clock here.
Shouldn't be much left on the shot clock.
It's still at 34 while it's being reset.
I think it's under 5. It's at 3 seconds.
3 seconds. So not much time once the ball's put in play by Robinson. Robinson clears the inbound. Right, the no look. Adams has to shoot. Got the shot off. It hit the rim, so no violation.
It's a long 3 seconds.
I was thinking the same exact thing. And Anderson had the ball go through his hands. Otherwise, that might have been another highlight dunk. Still a 2-point lead for Detroit.
I'll tell you what, though, he does get up now.
He's an athlete. Patterson pull-up pop. And Wright was flying to the air. Couldn't get the putback to go, and Adams keeps it alive.
Now, it's been interesting to watch Pitt now attack the zone in the second half. They've gotten ball movement and penetration into gaps.
Sana in the corner. Throws it out to Wright. Shot clock down to 10 as Patterson drives. He's cut off. Throws up a desperation shot. Loose ball pulled down by Minerath. And a whistle and a foul on Adams. Adams picks up another personal foul. Timeout on the floor. 2-point game.
I think clearly cancer is going to touch everyone at some point in their life. It's critical that more people jump on board and champion the cause to raise awareness, to educate and raise dollars to help people navigate through this dreaded disease.
To donate, go to www.jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. With Mark Adams, I'm Tim Neverett. The Peterson Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. 2-point game in favor of the road team, the Detroit Titans. Ray McCallum brings the ball up the floor. Game's leading scorer with 17 points. Robinson guarding him again. Lippert hands back to McCallum. Open is Minerath. Bruinsma with the rebound right over Woodall.
I like that kid. He just makes little plays at big times in basketball games. That Bruinsma kid, number 33 in red, just does the little things for this Detroit basketball team.
There's a steal as Woodall got his hand in there to take the pass away. And Pittsburgh a chance to tie. First 5 minutes of the second half gone by. The last time this game was tied, the score was 8-8.
And that's about the time that Detroit went to this zone defense. They haven't been out of it since.
Robinson long on the three. And Bruinsma hit the deck. And a foul on Pittsburgh's Dante Taylor. First personal on Taylor and the third team foul for Pitt.
Defensive matchup now. James Robinson matched up again with Ray McCallum. And frankly, McCallum torched him in the first half. And everybody else, too.
This time an offensive foul. Lippert on the pick. That's a turnover. Jermaine Lippert, the junior from Munich, Germany. It's called for the foul. Well, Pitt a chance to tie. In fact, Pitt's last lead, incidentally, was when the score was 8-5. Inside of 5 minutes gone in the game. And Zana fouled as he goes to the rack. And Talib Zana fouled by Bruinsma. Evan Bruinsma's first personal. Third on the team for the Titans.
You know, Tim, I just saw something against that zone. There it is. James Robinson gets right to the free throw line before he's defended. He gives it up to Zana. But I would look for Jamie Dixon to challenge James Robinson and knock down that middle range jump shot. If they're going to give you that, he's certainly a good enough player to make that shot.
Well, the way this game has gone, Coach, this team's free throws, both teams' free throws, will be crucial down the stretch. They usually are, especially for a road team in a close game, but in this case, the home team needs it.
Yeah, this is very, very tight. The key to success for Detroit in the first half was making the three ball in a very stingy 2-3 zone.
Ray McCallum reversing direction, hands off to Kalist. The switch up now, Robinson on Kalist. They switch back with Patterson on Kalist. Kalist dumps it underneath, and Lippert there for two, and Detroit back in front by a pair.
Well, Lippert doing a good job of reading his defender and sneaking right to the rim.
Big-bodied combo forward for Ray McCallum's team. Into the corner, wide open. Patterson for three. No good. And a foul away from the ball on Dante Taylor. So an offensive foul on Pitt. Taylor's second of the half.
Well, Dante Taylor at 6'9", he's not afraid to get a little bit dirty down low. Rides a dirt bike. It must be a big dirt bike with a really big engine.
Well, he and his friends in New York go to his dirt bike park, and he's not too hard to pick out. He's the biggest guy on the bike.
What a great hobby for a 6'9" guy.
Step back three, no good. And there's Bruinsma in there again. Cannot get the ball to fall. And that ball out of bounds back to Pitt.
That's the second time Bruinsma has gone in to the photographers and into the first row. That kid plays as hard as anybody on this floor. He really wants to win this game, and it shows through his effort. I'll coach a guy like that any day. What a great effort.
Brunsma plays more than one position for Detroit, so he's got some value there as well.
You know, there's more photographers and NBA scouts than anybody in this building right now going into that corner.
Patterson dumps it off to Zana, who's fouled as he goes to the basket. Nothing easy inside for Pittsburgh as the defense of Detroit has been vicious in the low post.
But here's the difference. First half, this was a deflection and a turnover. The second half, now the Pitt big guys are more aggressive at drawing contact.
Nick Minerath picks up his 4th foul. And he will come out right now. And Minerath will go over to the Detroit bench. Ugochukwu Njoku, 6'10" Nigerian, will come in to replace him.
Minerath, one of those guys that can really stretch a defense for a big guy. Pull the trigger from 3. Hasn't shot it as well early this season, but definitely a danger from behind the arc. Now he's got to sit.
Doug Anderson came in for Jermaine Lippert as well. A tie game again at 39, 12:43 left. And Anderson, an impact player, had 15 points against number 2 Kansas in the NCAA tournament last year. He's already had a highlight dunk here tonight. Trying to set a screen for Brunsma. Njoku off to Kalist. Ron Johnson picks him up. Kalist rolls it over to Brunsma for 2. Nifty little pass, kind of a secret pass.
Brunsma read his defender who went to help and turned his head. Whenever a defender turns his head, you go straight to the basket.
Tight ball game here at the Peterson Event Center, and Trey Woodall, his 4th three-pointer. He's got 14 points, and Pittsburgh with their first lead since early in the first half when the score was 8-5. Turnaround jumper, McCallum short. Njoku with the rebound, back to McCallum, and Detroit a fresh shot clock. And a foul is going to be called on the perimeter on Cameron Wright. That'll be his 2nd foul. Pittsburgh with a 1-point lead and 11:49 to go in the second half. Jamie Dixon's team in front for the first time in quite a while. A lot of NBA scouts in attendance. Dickie Simpkins, one of them, and the general manager of the Oklahoma City club, Sam Presley.
And one of the guys they're looking at is Ray McCallum. There's Ray's mother, Wendy McCallum, Ray's wife, Ray's mom. She loves it that both father and son are in the same building for the same basketball games. She used to run around a lot to high school games to see Ray play, and then obviously see her husband Ray coach Detroit as well.
Last play here.
As defenders collapsed, Brunsma read his defender perfectly and went right to the basket. Whenever you see a defender turn their head and look at the ball, that's the offense's cue to go right to the rim. That kid's a smart basketball player.
Detroit looking to get the lead back, as we might have a seesaw game here in the second half.
Cameron Wright matched up with Ray McCallum. 3 in red versus 3 in white.
Good go off to McCallum. And here's Anderson. That one redirected by Dante Taylor. J.J. Moore gets it ahead. Woodall. Johnson. 3. Got it! A 4-point lead now for Pittsburgh.
Now is about the time when Ray McCallum needs a touch. That's a bad shot.
Loose ball, and Bruinsma picks it up. Now McCallum with it.
Is he just a junkyard dog?
McCallum's fadeaway jumper.
He got his hands on it again. Somebody might want to block that dude off.
Bruinsma is all over the place for Detroit. In and out. Taylor the rebound. And Woodall finds Johnson. Johnson travels as he slid on the floor.
Might have tried to do a little bit too much right there. Made a jump shot, got excited. But how about Bruinsma? That kid has been all over the place. Evan Bruinsma at 6'8", defending right there. Johnson goes down, turnover. You love guys that understand their role and do what they do best. Just play to their strengths. He plays as hard as anybody on the court and makes things happen.
McCallum for 3. He's got another. And McCallum with 20 points. He is 4 for 6 from three-point range.
What a luxury as a father to have your son able to make big shots like that.
Detroit has 7 threes. McCallum has 4 of the 7. Dante Taylor underneath to Moore. And a foul is going to be called on Evan Bruinsma. Bruinsma went up on Moore and picks up the personal foul, and Moore turned and went straight to the free throw line.
Bruinsma's lucky he didn't get teed up right here, because he goes up, blocks the shot. You won't see his face on this, but he talks at him, kind of taunts him. He has something to say right there.
Second foul on Evan Bruinsma. And here's J.J. Moore out of Brentwood, New York, 6'6" junior. He won the throwdown showdown dunk contest this year at the beginning of the season. Pretty exciting player, popular among his teammates. When you watch him in practice, he's one of the more vocal guys on the team.
He's had 10 pounds of upper body strength. Worked very hard in the offseason.
3-point lead again at 47-44, under 10 minutes to go. Another turnover. That foul is called on Ugochukwu Njoko.
And Njoko, watch him as he comes up, sets the screen, and he leads in right there. He doesn't get set. That's an obvious illegal screen.
That's the third foul on Njoko. Pitt a chance to extend their lead. They've trailed through most of this game. Detroit putting themselves nicely on the road. The zone defense has been very effective. The Pitt with some timely three-pointers has shot their way back into the game, trailing by double digits on a number of occasions in this game. Dante Taylor trying to force his way to the basket. Can't get the ball to fall. There's Bruinsma again.
Got a great nose for the ball.
Bruinsma for 3. He's got it. And that ties the game at 47. The fourth time this game has been tied.
Sometimes there's an X factor in a game. In this case, it's Evan Bruinsma. He is the X factor for Detroit tonight.
He's doing a little of everything, and the last thing he did was pretty big. Now fouls called on Detroit.
One official called it the jump ball, the other called the foul. The foul will overrule.
And That'll be called on Ray McCallum, his second personal. And McCallum commits the foul. Last summer of 2011, we should say, he was a part of Team USA's World University Games team that took part in a tournament in Shenzhen, China. Did very well there. He's had some international experience as well, which for a lot of players in his situation can prove to be invaluable. Friendly roll off the rim for Wright.
Tim, Evan Brunsma, before tonight, averages 2.4 points and 3.6 rebounds and 0 for 7 from 3. Tonight, he's got 11 points, 2 for 3 from three-point land, and 2 assists.
2-point game now, 8:44 to play. And it's been a big night for Bruinsma. His career high is 17 points. Got that at Bowling Green last year. So still under his career high, but certainly a big contributor for the team in red. Now McCallum had it swatted away by Wright. Wilson finds Bruinsma. Bounce pass to Njoku. He's got 2.
That was a violation. You can't shoot yourself the ball. Unless that ball was touched, and I did not see it touched, that is a violation.
Tie game at 49. And right to Patterson. Patterson looking for some help. Robinson outside, top of the key on the right. Again, it's Patterson. Pitt working the ball around the perimeter with 7:50 to go in the second half. Shot clock down to 5. Robinson hangs and scores off the glass. The bank is open, Coach.
That's DeMatha basketball right there. That's why he's the winningest player in DeMatha history. Fundamentals. James Robinson, more wins than Keith Bogans, Adrian Branch, Danny Ferry, Adrian Dantley, Mike Bray, Kenny Carr. Do I need to keep going?
Cal Ripken Jr., by the way, plays basketball at DeMatha.
Attaboy.
He did okay in another sport.
1-on-1. McCallum versus Wright.
And a long jumper. Moore rips down the board for Pitt.
Wright wins the midi battle.
Robinson trying to push the tempo just a little bit and had to pull out and reset the offense. Whistle off the ball. It'll be called a foul on Njoku. That'll be the 4th personal foul on Ugochukwu Njoku. Timeout. (51-49). Pittsburgh leading Detroit. 6:56 to go. Ray McCallum, he's been getting it done. 20 points. He has 4 3-pointers in the game.
Fundamentally sound, very good, wheeling into his right-hand jump shot. Watch him get his feet, shoulders completely square to the basket. Great extension on the jump shot. He's so good going right. That's why he's a Wooden Award candidate. There you see the numbers He's the first sophomore in Detroit Titan history to have 1,000 career points. And the real talented family is Wendy McCallum.
Well, she gets to make all the trips now.
Yeah, empty nester, so she gets to watch her son and husband coach. What a great family.
Talib Zana hits the free throw, and the foul just before the break was on the Joe killer. So Ray McCallum's got 2 players with 4 fouls now. Minerath the other. 4-point Pittsburgh lead.
Minerath back in the game, 34 in red, a guy that can stretch that defense, capable from behind the arc.
Police trap finds Minerath. And a foul called underneath on Pitt. And it's on J.J. Moore. First foul on Moore. It's Wilson. And Khalees the fadeaway. It's knocked out of bounds off of Bruinsma. Well, Pitt will have control. One guy who's been quiet tonight, Doug Anderson.
Yeah.
Anderson, a guy who averages almost 15 points a game for Detroit, has been held in check, number 23.
Well, you could make an argument he may be the best athlete on the floor. With apologies to J.J. Moore, both those kids can really flop.
Patterson gave up the dribble, but finds Zana inside for the two-handed jam. Talib Zana. And Pittsburgh with a 6-point lead. That ties their biggest lead of the game.
Now, Ray McCallum has seen enough without his son in the game. And Ray McCallum comes back into this basketball game right now.
Good look here, finding Zana open by Patterson.
You know, those little ball fakes right there froze the defenders. Everybody reacted to Patterson right there. Look at the defenders react to him, which allows the seal inside for Zana. Head fake. Head fake again. Defenders adjust. Zana wide open.
Talib Zana with 13 points. You're behind now on the road in a game that you led most of the way. What's Ray McCallum telling his Titans?
Here's the luxury that Ray McCallum has. He has a son who can really score. In late game situations, Ray McCallum, number 3 in red, is going to get this basketball. They typically like a high ball screen as the first option or coming off a double off of the pass.
And the freshman, James Robinson, guarding him. They get the switch and the mismatch with Zana, having to cover McCallum right now.
We got to flatten out your offense, let McCallum attack.
Anderson tried to set the screen. 5 seconds to shoot. Khalees, 3, no. Zana had inside position on Anderson and got the board.
A great block off by Zana.
Woodall. Pass to Patterson now as Pitt working it around the perimeter once again.
I like the penetration of the free throw line right there. Step in the gap. There it is.
That's a long 2 by Robinson. Now Pitt has their largest lead of the game at 8. Bruinsma finds Minerath for the short 2.
Good job of Minerath. Just got right into the gap. 2-foot jump stop under control. As the ball reverses, watch the top of the defense. That's where the gap is. That's where the opportunity to score.
Robinson for 3. A cold-blooded freshman from DeMatha High School in Baltimore. Ice water in his veins, and he is one cool customer.
Watch him step into the gap right there. We talked about it earlier as being a weak spot of the zone. Then he spots up on the backside. Dribble penetration. Steps up and knocks down the jump shot. Boy, just under control, straight up. Poe goes into the jump shot. Boy, he's a smart, well-drilled freshman from DeMatha High School.
9 points for Robinson. You see the Panthers outscoring their opponents in the second half by 80 this year. And tonight, outscoring Detroit 31-14 in the second half.
Now, Jamie Dixon has made some great adjustments against his zone. Attacking more aggressively 94 feet, and the half-court sets really getting the gaps off the dribble. And Pitt now goes 2-3 zone to make Detroit use a little bit of clock.
Kalise in the corner with Moore on him. Anderson in the post. Back out to Kalise. Anderson looking for some room to penetrate. Oh, a swat by Zana.
Wow. Star Wars.
And Zana at the other end makes it go. And the foul. And he'll go to the line for a possible three-point play. The lead now is 11 with just over 4 minutes to play.
Look at the rotation by Zana. Just stays with the play. And that is against one of the great athletes in the country, Doug Anderson. Man, is that getting up and reacting to the ball.
15 points for Zana. He's been to the line a lot. He is 9 for 10 from the stripe tonight. Looking to make it a dozen here. 12-point lead. 10 of Zana's 16 points have come from the stripe.
And defensively, really making a difference on the interior.
Foul on the perimeter on Robinson, and that'll be the third personal on James Robinson as he got a hand on McCallum. 3:52 left in this one. Pittsburgh's been on a run in the second half, and they lead by 12. (63-51), a reversal of fortune for the home team in the second half as they now lead their visitors from Detroit. Our All-State Good Hands play of the game comes from Talib Zana.
The Good Hands play of the game became a Nigerian nightmare for Doug Anderson. Anderson, one of the great athletes in mid-major basketball, and Zana with the rejection. Man.
And then Zana got it done at the other end of the floor, converting a basket, fouled, and then converted the three-point play as well. So we went coast to coast to have an impact defensively and offensively. Ray McCallum, 17 points in the first half, only 3 in the second half.
Cameron Wright has done a good job defensively in the second half. That was an adjustment.
So 4 second half points after the made free throw. Ray McCallum projected as perhaps a second round pick in the NBA draft. A number of NBA scouts here to see him. He's among the nation's leading scorers, averaging just over 20 points a game, and that's right where he is now at 22.
And Detroit content to stay in their zone, and Pitt will run some clock.
Entry pass kicked around. And that is out of bounds and lost back to the Titans. Turnover for Pitt. Minerath, playing with 4 fouls, will inbound.
And Pitt now back into man-to-man. James Robinson matched up with McCallum.
Kalist guarded by Woodall. Got around him, got a step on him. That's all he needed. And a lay-in for Kalist. Jason Kalist with 2 more.
No help. Very unusual for a half-court Pitt defensive possession.
Kalist over his average. He averages 11 a game. Now he's got 12. 8-point lead for Pitt. 3 minutes to go. Woodall wide open left side. Woodall picked him up. Either McCallum picked him up. And now the top of the key is Patterson. And he's got himself a long one. Lamar Patterson dialing long distance. He's got 8 points.
Here's where McCallum really needs to take over. Detroit's got to make a run.
Brunsma, he's got another 3. That's his second one. I think that is third one. He's 3 for 4. He now has 14 points. So Brunsma continues to do a lot to help this Detroit team. Upcoming on Wednesday, it's the City game to be seen right here on ESPN3. That's from the Consol Energy Center in downtown Pittsburgh. Then North Florida, December 8th. Bethune-Cookman, December 15th. Delaware State and Kennesaw State as they'll get set to wrap up non-conference play.
Yeah, at that point, you can feel the Big East upon you. Syracuse with a victory at Arkansas last night. Cincinnati over Alabama earlier this afternoon.
Detroit's upcoming games. Wednesday, they'll take on the Rockets of Toledo. Then Rochester, Michigan, Alabama State, the Zips of Akron. Then they get a taste of the Big East on ESPNU at Syracuse on the 17th of December.
One of the great shot blockers in the country, Zeke Marshall from Akron, a guy you want to keep your eye on.
Patterson trying to penetrate, and Patterson scores. Lamar Patterson, double-figure scorer tonight. Now with 10. And Anderson the other way. Couldn't get it to fall. Lost the handle on the rebound, and a foul going up. And the foul will be called on Patterson. That'll be the first personal foul on Patterson. 8th team foul on Pitt. Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way. Detroit with 9 team fouls, so their next foul would put Pitt in the double bonus.
Well, what a job Pitt has done defensively on Doug Anderson tonight. He averages nearly 15 points a game and over 8 rebounds. So far tonight, 2 points, 2 rebounds.
Anderson's frustrations continue tonight.
He's the kind of player after this game, if Detroit doesn't figure out a way to come back from this deficit, they say, man, lost by 10, and Anderson got 3. You know, it's pretty simple to start doing the math and figuring it out. It's great defense by Pitt.
Robinson trying to start a 2-on-1, but it was picked up defensively. Kalist collapsed down low and cut that off. Robinson to Patterson. Under 1:40 to play. Pitt looking for their 7th victory. They're 6-1. Oh, what a pass to Robinson. Back door, and a foul is called. And that'll be a flagrant foul on Kalist. J.J. Moore.
He played the ball the entire time. In my view, looking at the first time, he wraps him up. Definitely intentional, but I don't think there was intent to harm. I don't think there was malice there. I think this will be a flagrant 1 foul, but I've been wrong before, Tim. Flagrant 1 foul means 2 shots plus possession. If it's determined to be a flagrant 2 foul, then Calist would be thrown out of the basketball game, be 2 shots plus possession and ejection.
And a regular foul known as a common foul. The officials will look at this one and determine the fate of Calist.
See, I think if he would have come down and slammed him down, then I think that's a flagrant 2. I think this is a flagrant 1. But again, I've been wrong before. There wasn't an intent to harm him. In fact, it looked like he tried to wrap him up a little bit. It's just my opinion. We'll see.
Well, your opinions are always welcome. We want to look at it one more time. It did look like he tried to play the ball with one side and then tried to wrap him up with the other.
It's a flagrant 1 in my view. So it'll be 2 shots plus possession. And it is a flagrant 1 foul. I am in mid-season form.
That's incredible. Right on the money. A flagrant 1 on Calist. So Moore will get 2 shots and Pitt will have possession. And that being the 10th foul, that puts Pitt in the double bonus the rest of the way. So the bonus plus under Pitt's score, that means the double bonus. They'll get 2 shots for every foul the rest of the way. Robinson will put it in play, leading by 11.
Well, Pitt's going to be content to run some clock, and now Detroit has no other option but to go to man-to-man. Pitt will spread them out. Well, J.J. Moore was wide open. So is Robinson.
Robinson faked one way, went the other, and got the roll.
That's why Detroit's been in zone all night. Can't man Pitt.
Robinson with 11. And it's 72-59.
And now Pitt goes on. They used this very effectively last possession of the first half. They've come back to it twice now in the second half.
Bruinsma missed the 3. Rebound to Woodall. Robinson, the lob ahead to Moore. Too much air under that pass, and it's intercepted by Bruinsma. No look to Anderson, and a blocking foul will be called on Robinson. 4th foul on James Robinson. Ninth team foul on Pittsburgh. So Bruinsma will go to the line to shoot. 14 points, 3 off his career high of 17.
He gets the steal on one end, then sprints the right-hand lane on the opposite end, and draws a foul.
Missed the front
so
end.
hard. I think he's lost his legs a little bit, but that kid has played a tremendous game tonight for Detroit.
Well, Pitt can run it down a little bit if they choose to do so. 8-second differential. Shot clock to game clock. Patterson found the lane and took the left-handed layup.
Well, great adjustments by Pitt in the second half of attacking that zone much more efficiently and aggressively.
12 points for Patterson, and McCallum scores the other way to bring his game-leading point total to 24. So 74-61. Timeout is called. It'll be a full timeout with 18 and 6/10 seconds to go. Pitt up by 13.
So a lot of reaction to that timeout. I like that timeout. You came here to play, work on late game situations. This is a team that has had a difficult schedule. Coming into Pitt, playing very well in the first half. You might as well play out the last 18.6. Show a little pressure, show some trap, try to get another basket out of this deal. Ray McCallum's not coaching for this possession right now. He's coaching for the Horizon League Championship. That's what he's trying to prepare his team for. I got no problem with timeouts like this.
Well, in this series, only one other game has been played between Detroit and Pitt, and that was in the Motor City Classic in 1970 when Detroit came away with a decisive win over Pitt in that game, but that was in a different era. This is the second meeting overall between these two schools, and Pittsburgh fans getting a good look at Ray McCallum, 24 points tonight.
Back close to the Vital era.
Yeah. 86-60, the Titans would win that one. Well, 10 seconds to go, shot clock dead, and Pitt can walk it out. That's going to do it. Pittsburgh will get the victory at home. They'll go to 7-1, and Jamie Dixon has guided the Panthers to the 1,500th victory in school history.
Give Jamie Dixon a lot of credit. At halftime, his team was reeling down 8. They came out with an aggressive game plan to attack the 2-3 zone before it could get set. Kudos to Jamie Dixon.
Talib Sano, Pittsburgh's leading scorer with 16. He led 4 Panthers in double figures. Game's leading scorer, Ray McCallum, with 24 points. 74-61, the final score here tonight at the Peterson Event Center. Pitt now will set their sights on Duquesne Wednesday night, while Detroit goes home to take on Toledo. The Titans now 2-4. Hope you enjoyed the game tonight. From Pittsburgh, for our entire crew and from Mark Adams, I'm Tim Neverett saying good night from the Peterson Event Center. Detroit put up a fight, but Pittsburgh comes away with a 74-61 victory. You've been watching college basketball presented by Allstate on ESPN3.